All right, with the new NBA season underway, it's the perfect time to check out the Curry 11's and see how his basketball shoes are going to be performing on the court. We already know that he's going to be killing it. So is ring number 5 going to be loading? All right, let's just stick to the shoes. Let's go. Welcome back to our channel, guys. I'm Landon from Shoewear, and today we're going to be checking out the Curry 11. I'm super pumped for this shoe review, mainly because Steph Curry is kind of my favorite player, but I always, look at these shoe reviews through an objective lens. But no, to be serious, we're going to be breaking these down, all the performance and stuff like that. We'll look at the cushion, the traction, the support, see how these play on the court, like I said in the intro. And then I'm going to stamp these with the letter grade. That always comes at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned for that once I'm done kind of, walking you through this shoe. So we always like to kick it off with the retail price, kind of break down some of the basic info. These are going to be going for $160. And while that is, kind of on the, I guess, the higher end of the scale, but it is still pretty average priced. The $160 retail price is important because that's how it's been for all 4 of his models. So he switched over a few years ago. I want to say going back to the Curry 8s is when they made that change. Now he's got Curry brand and Curry branded logos, Curry branded everything the way that Under Armour releases his stuff. So it's not like they split. He kind of does his own stuff now. I bring that up every shoe review, but it led to like his own new logo. You see that pop up on the tongue and a few different spots. So the one thing I do like about the Curry 11 is the design. So not everyone is a huge fan of Steph Curry's shoe line whenever it comes to the appearance, and I totally get that. For some reason, I just actually tend to like him, and I do like I said, he's my favorite player. Might be some like bias in there, but I really do like the design. Not so much on the 10s, but I like what they did with the 11s this year. I got the 10s up on the wall. They had like kind of a weird strap on the in the lacing system. It honestly wasn't a bad look, but I saw Steph Curry rock the Curry 11s on this like Bleacher Report review that he did this past summer, and it was an amazing looking shoe. I saw it, I was like, that looks like a lifestyle shoe. I want to buy that in. I went to go search it. I was like, what shoe is he wearing during this interview? It was the Curry 11. It just hadn't dropped yet. So now they're out. I'm always happy to be able to check those back out because I just think that Steph Curry has a very cool line, and I like what Under Armour is doing with it. So we'll leave all the the details and stuff like that out, and we'll just jump straight into the review and start breaking these down. And I always like to start with the cushion, and the cushion might be the spot that these are the most average this year. So like I said, once they switched over to the Curry 8s, they went with the whole new cushioning setup. So this is now going to be, instead of like a rubber cushioning setup that they use for the outsole, we're not going to get to that yet. They switched to this foam, and it made the shoe a lot lighter. I'm about to talk about that, but what it also did is just switch up the entire cushioning design. So now it's called this UA Flow Foam. Under Armour calls it like a dual density setup, and it's meant to give you premium comfort and like a super light, bouncy, and also it's meant to provide insane grip. And they even factored that into the cushioning section. So you know that this whole setup on this model, I've always been a fan from it from the jump when they made that switch 4 years ago. So the cushion, it's going to feel good, but I have to say this, it's not going to be a crazy soft feel. So back in the 8s, that was probably the softest one that he's played in since they went to that flow foam setup. The 9s definitely gave you a pretty responsive, more of a stiff feel underfoot. The 10s, I thought they loosened it up. These are kind of right there alongside the 10s. They loosened it up a little bit, hasn't gotten back to the 8s. I'm still kind of searching for that. I mean, they are going to require a little bit of break in time, but the cushion, it's not going to be a negative. That's one thing I always look for whenever, kind of immediately once I start playing in shoes, is if the shoe is soft, you're good to go. If the shoe is stiff, does it start to loosen up and kind of mold to your foot? If not, it just may not be a shoe with a lot of cushioning setup. These seem to be loosening up the more and more I've played in them. So cushion, while it's not going to be a huge positive, it's definitely not going to be a negative. And then we always like to throw this durometer reading at you too. We just use this to kind of measure the firmness of the midsole. And these were reading at a 40. And I want to say it was like at a 30 something last year. So, I mean, it's not too bad. It's basically kind of in that average to it's foam. So you honestly, I would have thought that reading would be a little bit softer with it being foam, but it feels a little bit more firm this year. So the tool knows what it's doing. And like I said, it doesn't really translate to how the shoe plays. So now we'll move on. And the next thing I want to talk about, which has been a huge highlight of Curry's line, probably one of the main reasons that I'm drawn to it, is just how light these shoes are. If you look at the weight on these, a size 10.5 weighs only 374 grams, and that is incredibly light. Of course, this is a low top shoe, but that's just, like I said, that's been a trend in this line. Last year, they were 382 grams, still on the much lighter side. The lightest that they've been is actually the Curry 9. The year before that, they were 348 grams. That's like nearly the lightest shoe that I've ever played in, and they feel that way on your foot. I'm a huge fan of that, and a lot of that, like I'm saying, is because of the materials. And I think that the Curry 11 just feels like a super quality model. Like the materials are nice. They switched it up a little bit. So they had been using what they called like a UA warp upper, and that's kind of what they had. They had worked that into the Curry 9s a little bit more after the Curry 8s. The support wasn't great. They made like a warp upper on the 9s. Felt a lot better, but they paired it with something that they're calling a UA Intel knit that's just meant to be breathable. And the same thing is supposed to be more on the comfort and the control side for that warp upper. So now they're starting to mix the two. Long story short, gosh, long story long, I guess. The upper on these feel really good. Like whenever you, I guess now we're going to move on to the support, because with the shoe this light, that's really where it becomes like a super key factor. You don't want the upper moving around on you, because then you're in such a great spot. You don't have all the extra materials weighing you down, and you're getting that supportive feel. That's basically the combination that you're looking for. And basically that's exactly what the Curry 11 gets you. Because you go, like I said, rewind all the way back to the Curry 8s. The only knock I had on that, like they switched it over, I put them on, it was so soft, felt like walking on a cloud. Then I started running. The traction was insane. The one spot they lacked, whenever you're trying to use that for support, I actually have them right here. They even tried to put this little colorful band on there, but this upper is just a lot, it's just a lot thinner. So it would move a little bit, it would move around on you just a little bit more. So I think they did a really good job on the Curry 11s, kind of putting some stuff on there. Maybe this piece right there, kind of a side rise to keep your foot, you know, a little bit more just barricaded inside of the shoe, because you don't want to be slipping out of that. That's how you roll an ankle. That's how you obviously end up getting hurt. So support on a light shoe, always a huge fan to see that show up, and it definitely shows up on the Curry 11s. Now we got one thing left to talk about, and that's the traction. And like I said, that is one of the major things that they switched from that Under Armour Curry to the Curry 8s. They've kept it the same ever since, for good reason. So like I said, it's a durable UA flow outsole pattern. That's what they call it. This is meant to provide better court feel, so you can cut, stop, and start faster than ever before. I'm only saying that because all of that is true. Playing with this foam setup, once I made that change, I don't see a lot of other brands out there doing it, like using foam as like an outsole. You know, it's pretty standard to just use rubber or some type of compound like that. This foam has been so consistent. The one thing I will say, it does, you know, catch a little bit of dust. That's kind of that's maybe the one knock on the foam. Plus, they called it durable. Not. If it's indoors, it's good. It's going to last over and over. But if it's outdoors, it's just not made to last on a super stiff, you know, what would you call it? Surface. Super stiff surface, rough surface over and over again. Just in my opinion, I know some people have said they still do it. Just doesn't tend to work that well for me. But the actual traction, the grip itself is top tier. But like I said, with the foam, it's not going to make any noise during our squeak test. Whenever we were doing that, this is one of those shoes that's basically silent. So, I mean, I kind of like the squeaking on the court. Some people don't. So really, maybe another reason to like or not like this model. But the last thing to wrap it up with, we'll just finish off with the sizing. They're going to run slightly narrow. That's just how Curry's line's been over the past few years, and that's more in the middle of the foot. Like, you know, for your toes, they do actually go close to the end, so it's a little less than a half thumb's width left over. If you prefer the shoe and you have like a little bit of a wider foot, you could probably get away with going a half size up. But that brings us to the end. It's time to stamp this, and these are going to get a letter grade of B+, just barely missing an A. And honestly, the only way that they can get there would be just getting that cushioning a little bit deeper, have a little better padding underneath your foot, because they're incredibly light. The traction is killer, and the support for being a lightweight model, that is just like a perfect combination that you're looking for. That's why Curry's line, even from the 10s to the 9s weren't super comfortable. The cushion and the support right there. The 10s, not super comfortable. The cushion and the support right there. The 8s, super comfortable. The traction was there, but you didn't have the support. So really, I'm looking for that just perfect shoe. Curry's line is very close to getting an A+ from me. But so far, feels like a really nice model. And like I said, $160. They haven't changed that price ever since the Curry 8s. The Curry 8s came out at $160. 4 years later, you got a shout out to Steph Curry for not, you know, moving with inflation. But I mean, $160, this model is definitely going to be worth it. I'd recommend going and getting a pair. So you can just click the link down below or the link that we have here on screen, and that'll get you a quick little easy checkout. And we have an affiliate link for that too. So, you know, feel free to check that out. But guys, that's going to wrap up this review. If you liked the video, just feel free to throw us a like and a subscribe or a follow, just depending on where you're watching. And let me know down in the comments, what are the shoes you guys want to see us do next? Let me know what you think about the Curry 11s, all that stuff. Feel free to just, you know, throw anything down there. But that's going to wrap up this review. Until next time, I'm Landon from Shoewear. Peace.